Joining me right now to talk more about all of the above is House Majority Whip Steve Scalise. Congressman, always a pleasure to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Great being with you, Maria. Busy week.
Busy week. Your reaction first to what the president said yesterday at the UN General Assembly and his policies in general on the foreign stage.
Well, I think he's done an incredible job on foreign policy and gets a little credit for the fact that he is now standing up for the United States. He's standing against the bullies and bad actors like Iran, like Russia. If you look at what he's done in North Korea, talk about a 180-degree turnaround from just 2 years ago. North Korea was moving towards a nuclear weapon and testing ballistic missiles. And now we've got Kim Jong-un agreeing to denuclearize. And as the president said, we're going to keep pushing the pressure until it actually happens. So the world is a safer place, and America's standing up for our friends all around the world.
Yeah, I mean,
and against Iran and other bullies.
Pardon me, sir. The push has to continue, right? Because we don't know what they have. Are they going to allow the people in who are going to assess where these materials are?
Yeah, and the old axiom of Ronald Reagan, trust but verify.
Exactly.
Ultimately, you've got to have real inspections. It's like why President Trump is pulling out of the Iran deal, and is a good move, by the way, because literally Iran had this self-inspection policy in place where, if anybody trusts Iran to play by the rules, gee whiz, I mean, how naive would that be? But look at what Iran's doing to continue to sponsor Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations. We're increasing sanctions, working with the president, and you see him imposing those sanctions against Iran and telling our friends around the world, don't do business with this country who's not only moving towards a nuclear weapon, but still the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world.
Yes, absolutely. Let me turn to the Supreme Court showdown, Congressman, because Supreme Court nominee Judge Brett Kavanaugh and one of the accusers, Ms. Ford, will testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee tomorrow, we understand. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Kavanaugh should not be presumed innocent or guilty. Listen to this.
It's not a legal proceeding. It's a fact-finding proceeding. This is not a criminal trial. This is not this is to find the facts.
Do you agree then that he has the, quote, presumption of innocence?
I agree that that's a criminal trial. What I believe is we ought to get to the bottom and find the facts in the way that the FBI has always done. There's no presumption of innocence or guilt when you have a nominee before you.
I'm sorry. I don't understand that, Congressman. I thought in America, we had due process, and you were, in fact, presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Yes, Maria, this is still America. We might need to remind Chuck Schumer of that. And everybody has the presumption of innocence and the ability to go face their accusers. And every opportunity has been presented. And I'm glad that they're going to move forward and have this hearing Thursday, but ultimately have the vote, because this needs to be based on facts. And if you saw what Judge Kavanaugh said on Monday night, went on national TV in a really important interview where he was asked and basically directly said that he wasn't even at the party. If anybody, by the way, was there with him, you would have heard from them Tuesday, and you didn't. And so I think it's important that he ought to have his case weighed, too, because, look, every single girl that he's ever dated that's come forward has testified that he's a man of high integrity and has all the qualifications to be on the Supreme Court. Who else has been held to that standard, and he's met that standard? By the way, his qualifications to be a judge, nobody's questioning. So here's a man who's going to be on the Supreme Court. Nobody's questioned his ability to actually interpret the Constitution the way it was written. And that's, that's important, too. So let's have all of the facts weighed, including all of the people, and especially women who have come forward and said Judge Kavanaugh is a man of high integrity.
I'm just wondering if this is delay tactics going into the midterm elections, but I'm going to get to the midterms in a moment.
And by the way, Chuck Schumer made it clear from the beginning he doesn't want Judge Kavanaugh on the bench. He didn't want whoever President Trump put forward to be on the bench.
Yes, that's right. He was very clear that he would do anything to stop Brett Kavanaugh. Why?
It's all about this resist movement. It's Chuck Schumer's base. It's not even Chuck Schumer. He's being drugged so far to the left. You saw in New York, Crowley, who's a congressman who's not a moderate but a liberal, was beat in his own primary by a communist. Their party's being drugged so far to the left. And unfortunately, you're seeing people like Chuck Schumer kind of play into that communist left base. That's not where America is. We're a center-right nation. And when you see socialism taking over their party, My goodness.
It's just extraordinary, actually. All right, keeping the government open. Here we are in the week that we've all been looking for in terms of whether or not the government's going to shut down. The House is going to vote on a minibus spending bill today to avoid that shutdown. Tell us about that in terms of the debate and vote on this bill to fund two sections of government and avoid a shutdown.
Yeah, and Maria, the most important vote we're going to have today is to vote to fund our defense and actually give full year funding. It hasn't happened, by the way, in I think 9 years where we've had a full year of funding for our men and women in uniform to give them the tools they need and give them a pay raise that they deserve. That's going to be a really important, strong vote you're going to see on the House floor today. Get that bill to the president's desk and get it signed into law. But
will the president sign it, given the fact that it doesn't actually fund the wall? And the president said very clearly months ago, the money better be there to fund the wall or I'm not signing it.
Right, and that's a separate bill. That's the Homeland Security funding bill. We don't have an agreement. As you know, I want to fund the wall in our bill in the House. We do fund the wall, and the Senate doesn't. And so we are not in agreement on that, so we're not voting on that bill today. But ultimately, we're all going to have that confrontation. But for now, let's not have our troops be held hostage to that. Democrats tried to do that, by the way, last year. And they were able to, for a few days at least, hold our troops hostage in this. Let's let our troops get their funding. Continue to fight on the wall to secure our border. You continue to see people coming across our border illegally that are committing crimes and that are bringing drug trafficking, human trafficking across the border. Let's get to a rule of law like every other country.
Well, let's also get some unanimity. I mean, you just said we're not in agreement on that. I just wonder the bigger issue, Congressman, in terms of being in agreement going into the midterm elections. Do you feel that you are unified on a lot of these important issues going into the midterms? For example, have enough Republicans gotten behind Judge Kavanaugh? Have enough Republicans gotten behind the president's agenda? Or are we seeing still a deep state within Congress and within government not behind the president? And is that going to hurt during the midterms?
Well, you see House Republicans strongly in unanimity behind President Trump's agenda. And if you look, the biggest success we're talking about back home are how the tax cuts are working for families, for middle-class families especially. And that's where the Democrats have been on the wrong side of this. They keep talking about millionaires and billionaires, and it's families that are getting that $1,000 bonus at Christmas time that are actually seeing the real benefits, and Nancy Pelosi calls it crumbs. So there's a contrast here, too, in this election cycle.
Yeah.
So we really are focused on what is important for the families that we've been fighting for. Democrats are talking about impeachment. They're talking about not supporting ICE, wanting to abolish ICE, getting rid of the tax cuts. They're on the wrong side of these issues, and you're seeing a lot of unanimity behind this agenda that we've been moving forward with President Trump to get our economy moving again.
Yeah, not to mention you doubled the standard deduction. So there you go. So you're talking now about tax cuts 2.0. Will the House pass a new round of tax cuts?
We will. We're going to bring up a package of bills, one bill to actually help make it easier for people to invest in their own retirement. And then, of course, the bill that makes the tax cuts permanent. That vote will happen on Friday. That bill will pass. Chairman Kevin Brady has been doing an incredible job of moving all of this forward so that not only did we get this historic tax cut where middle-class families, the economy is booming, you're seeing profits up, more hiring, but now let's make this permanent. Let's double down on this success.